Good day, Africa and the world. You are watching Talk of Africa 360, where we bring you the most pressing developments across our beloved continent, and tonight we report on what could become one of the most defining events in modern West African history. In a stunning and unprecedented move, the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS has launched what it calls a strategic military operation aimed at countering the growing influence of the newly formed alliance between Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and now Ghana. Yes, you heard that correctly. After months of rising tension, sanctions, and stern warnings, ECOWAS has moved beyond diplomacy. According to reliable military sources, troop mobilizations and drone surveillance activities have been confirmed along critical borders between alliance territories. These maneuvers are being justified as preemptive measures to preserve regional peace, but the reality feels far more volatile. Let us be clear. This is not just a military action, this is a geopolitical gamble that could shatter decades of regional cooperation. At the heart of this crisis is Captain Ibrahim, the bold and defiant leader of Burkina Faso, whose anti-colonial vision and fierce commitment to African sovereignty has shaken the old guard. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso has joined hands with Mali and Niger to form a sovereign union based on shared natural resources, a joint military command, and the rejection of foreign influence, especially from the West. The recent decision by Ghana's president to enter discussions about joining this alliance has triggered outrage within ECOWAS leadership circles. Analysts say Ghana's involvement threatens to legitimize the movement and pull the region away from traditional Western partnerships. Now, ECOWAS claims this alliance is destabilizing, unconstitutional, and dangerous. They argue that these nations are acting unilaterally, ignoring existing protocols, and opening the door to outside powers, namely Russia and China. But the alliance members have fired back. In a joint statement, leaders from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger condemned the ECOWAS operation as a betrayal of African unity and an extension of foreign neo-colonial interests. In the words of Captain, "Just hours ago, we are not aggressors. We are sons of Africa defending our home. If they bring war to our door, they will find a united wall of resistance. What happens next could shape the fate of the continent." Will ECOWAS double down on its military campaign, or will internal divisions among its member states force a diplomatic reversal? Will other African nations rally behind this alliance, or will they remain silent in the face of a possible regional war? And most importantly, who truly speaks for Africa's future? This is a developing story, and we will continue to bring you updates as they unfold. I'm Isaac, and this is Talk of Africa 360.
Direct the Committee of the Chief of Defense Staff to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements immediately. Order the deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger.
Welcome to Talk of Africa 360, your source for insightful news, analysis, and thoughtful commentary. If you value informed perspectives and fact-based reporting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is based on reliable public sources and credible online information. It is intended strictly for educational and analytical purposes. We do not promote or endorse political violence, hate speech, or any form of discrimination. Our goal is to inform, not to inflame. Thanks for being here. Let's stay informed together.
Good evening, viewers across West Africa and beyond. You're watching Continental Report, your trusted source for the latest and most vital developments shaping our region. Tonight, we bring you a story of seismic proportions, one that signals a pivotal moment in West African geopolitics. ECOWAS has officially declared war on Captain Ibrahim Traoré's alliance with Mali, Niger, and now Ghana. This isn't a metaphor. It's a formal move signaling full-blown confrontation, where diplomatic, economic, and security dimensions collide. And yes, I mean war, an institutional war of influence, jurisdiction, and ideology. What prompted this escalation? Over the past 18 months, Captain Traoré has led Burkina Faso into uncharted waters. Joined by military-led governments in Mali and Niger, the three countries formed a Sahelian bloc rejecting IMF programs, Western military presence, European economic conditions, and even ECOWAS rules. They created a new regional framework, a shared currency aimed at replacing the CFA franc, a joint military command safeguarding against external interference and terrorism. a pooling of natural resources, gold, uranium, energy, for internal development. Formal invitations extended to Ghana, signaling a southward expansion. In Accra, President Mahama's openness to this alliance stunned analysts. A democratically elected leader aligning with military regimes in the Sahel, pragmatic solidarity, or ideological pivot. It's still too early to say. What exactly has ECOWAS done? In an emergency summit held in Lagos, ECOWAS issued a three-point declaration. Economic sanctions on Mali and Niger already underway, with Ghana now at risk pending cooperation. Suspension from ECOWAS institutions, banking bodies, trade mechanisms, security pacts. Authorization for deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore regional order, if any alliance country resists, now including military deployments. This escalation means Ghana faces real consequences: blocked cocoa shipments, frozen ECOWAS development funds, and passport restrictions. It's not just war by words, it's war by infrastructure and trade. What is at stake? The core issue goes deeper than territory or resources. It challenges ECOWAS's sovereignty. Will it remain the dominant regional actor or fracture? With Traoré's part in the alliance and Ghana on course to join, a parallel bloc is emerging, one resistant to Western perils, conditional financialism, and paternalism. Speaking head voices from the region Accra. Inside Ghana, government insiders say President Mahama is pushing forward cautiously. We're open to alternatives if they put Ghana's interests first, one senior advisor shared, off the record. But immense pressure is building from cocoa farmers worried about export bans and from international allies warning of unforeseen economic fallout. Ouagadougou. Captain Traoré responded with defiance. ECOWAS can sanction, suspend, threaten, but Burkina Faso will not bow. We are reclaiming our sovereignty. On televised state channels, he urged citizens to rally, saying this was a test of our dignity and national unity. Bamako and Niamey. Mali's Colonel Goïta and Niger's General Tiani voiced solidarity with Burkina Faso. In a joint broadcast, they declared, "We will not allow our destiny to be dictated by external institutions." The sentiment echoes the alliance's broader message: Afrocentrism, not foreign dominance. The macroeconomic ripple effects: this is more than symbolism. The regional economic impact is immediate. Cocoa, gold, and uranium trades risk disruption. Tourism and remittances could see declines. Currency volatility emerges. If Ghana exits the cedi from ECOWAS transactional frameworks, financial systems tremble. And militarily? Deploying the West African Standby Force to Ghana, a democratic nation, would shatter ECOWAS precedent. Could national militaries refuse orders? Would there be internal gas? All of these are now on the table. Global Watchers Way in Washington issued a neutral statement. We urge restraint and dialogue, but diplomatic cables leaked. This threatens regional order and risks empowering disruptive regimes. Brussels warned ECOWAS of trade consequences if actions undermine democratic cohesion, while quietly acknowledging Burkina Faso's critique of development loans. Beijing and Moscow signaled an open door. Their foreign ministries praised regional autonomy and underscored alternatives for military and financial cooperation. The United Nations expressed deep concern and dispatched a delegation for peace-building diplomacy. What lies ahead? The next 2 weeks are pivotal. Sanctions on Ghana activate within 7 days. ECOWAS Parliament and Court could initiate legal actions. Burkinabe, Malian, and Nigerian partners refine alliance plans. Currency Board, defense operations, trade corridor expansion. Ghana's parliament convenes to discuss treaty implications, trade strategy, possible stock market adjustments. Worst-case scenario: entrenched sanctions, diplomatic isolation for the alliance, and risk of military or economic conflict with shaky neighbors. Best-case scenario: mediated peace deal, limited cooperation, casualties avoided, space to test new frameworks. Why it matters for the whole continent: this crisis isn't just about West Africa. It's about the future architecture of African integration. Will we rely on regional bodies shaped by foreign intervention? Or will we create independent coalitions centered on sovereignty, self-financing, and Afrocentric values? This conflict sets precedent. The world watches to see if Africa will remain tied to Western carts or craft its own independent locomotive. Final thought: We've reached a crossroads. ECOWAS's declaration against Traoré's alliance signals a historical moment. We may see the fragmentation of regional trade blocs or the birth of a redefined Pan-African order. But one thing is clear: the power to choose lies with Africans. And in the coming days, our leaders must decide if they'll double down on old systems or pave a new path. Thank you for joining us on this critical broadcast. This is James, and we'll continue analyzing every development in this unfolding chapter of West African history. Stay informed, stay engaged. Good night, and may Africa's future be worthy of its immense potential. And as we draw the curtain on tonight's special report, one truth remains clear: West Africa stands at a critical crossroads. The recent military maneuver by ECOWAS against the alliance of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and potentially Ghana is not just a battle over borders or political control. It is a battle for the soul of African sovereignty. Captain Ibrahim Traoré and his fellow alliance leaders have taken bold, controversial steps to break away from decades of dependence, rejecting foreign military bases, expelling Western contractors, forming their own security framework, and now standing shoulder to shoulder in defiance of what they perceive as external puppetry within ECOWAS. But ECOWAS, once a symbol of regional unity, now risks being seen by many as a tool of foreign influence. Moving not in defense of African people, young people are chanting no to neocolonialism, no to foreign control, yes to African unity. These are not mere slogans. They are the cries of a generation ready to reshape their destiny, but in defense of old systems designed elsewhere for interests that are not African. The streets of Ouagadougou, Bamako, Niamey, and even Accra have seen thousands rallying behind this new wave of African resistance. So the question we must ask, and ask it fearlessly, is this: will Africa continue to bow to foreign pressures, or will it rise boldly and decide its future on its own terms? But so too is the hope that out of this storm, a new dawn of genuine African independence can emerge. The situation remains volatile. The risk of escalation is real. History is being written in real time. And as citizens, leaders, and watchers of this great continent, we must all ask ourselves where we stand when the dust settles. Will it be on the side of suppression or sovereignty? Thank you for joining us tonight on this critical broadcast.
As reactions continue to pour in from across the continent, one thing is clear: Africa is demanding respect, sovereignty, and accountability. Was this just a diplomatic misstep or a deeper sign of shifting global alliances? We'll be watching closely. If you found this story important, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, unfiltered African news. This is Talk of Africa 360, telling the stories that matter.